webpage within a week. Please share with any neighbors who may be interested but were unable to attend today. I also want to note, well, we can cancel that. Next page, next, please. We want to ensure that the conversation is a pleasant experience for all and that all community members are comfortable sharing their comments, questions, and feedback. Please be respectful and mindful of each other's time, as we only have a little bit of time here tonight. Let's keep the questions and comments project specific and on point, and please wait until all attendees have had the opportunity to ask a question or provide a comment before asking a second one. I'll provide my contact in the chat box. So if there's a desire for additional conversation or issues, please feel to reach out to me directly. Next. Just a few Zoom tips. Most of you probably know how to use these anyway, but as mentioned, we'll be asking participants if they are comfortable to turn on their camera during the discussion portion. During that time, you can raise your hands and unmute once you are called upon. If you're calling in, you will need to dial *9 to raise your hand and we will unmute you. Also, if you have a question during the presentation, feel free to add it to the chat feed and we will address it during the discussion portion in the order it was received. Please use the chat only for comments or questions related to the project. So with that housekeeping taken care of, I'd like to welcome you tonight and thank you again for taking the time to participate in this process. Tonight's agenda includes an introduction to the design team, the project overview, a presentation, listening and discussion, and then closing remarks and next steps. Next. Oh, I don't think it went to the next screen. There we go. Okay. As I mentioned, my name is Priyanka Venkina. I'm the project manager from the Parks Department, overseeing the improvements to Dudley Town Common. Also from the Parks Department is Michael McMillan, our outreach coordinator. He's an excellent contact for any current issues or questions regarding community groups. Our design team for this project is Carly Cottrell. From their office today, we have Naomi, Leah, and Echo. Our team also includes DSNI. DSNI is a sub-consultant to Carly Cottrell and has been critical in gathering community input by canvassing with surveys and connecting us to various community events, such as the Farmers Market, and tonight's meeting, Sustainable Development Committee. So we're thrilled to have DSNI as a part of our team. At this time, if there are any elected officials or staff, please introduce yourself and you're welcome to say a few words. Okay, next. In June, we attended a farmers market and held a virtual meeting to discuss site analysis and gather feedback. Today, we are at the third in a series of community meetings to present schematic designs and gather input on them. This afternoon, we tabled at the farmers market and had a chance to speak to people passing through the park. Our funding consists of a capital funding commitment of $1.13 million. And the community engagement will go through September. After tonight's meeting with the information gathered here, Carol Cottrell will go back to the drawing board and create a final schematic to present, a final scheme to present at the September 25th Sustainable Development Committee meeting. So with input from that meeting, Carol Cottrell will then develop the design further and begin the construction document production.
I had one show up today, and they ready to move on this project by the end of September. You see what I'm saying? Where's the community engagement?
I'm sorry. We had meetings.
So can I just jump in? So we're gonna, as I said at the beginning of the meeting, we're gonna have plenty of time at the end to discuss, community questions and get community feedback. This is just a presentation of what's happened so far and where the project's at right now. I will welcome any feedback when everybody can share. Thank you.
Excellent. So we get asked a lot about how we design parks. There are a lot of considerations guiding public park design, which includes community input, such as tonight and this afternoon at the farmers market. But this also includes safety and regulatory guidelines, City of Boston priorities, and parks and recreation goals. Next. During project planning, we prioritize expanding park access, addressing equity and climate resiliency, promoting health, public health, and building strong communities, promoting connections. We also, I think that the slides get fifth. Next. We also prioritize park-specific goals which overlap with the city priorities and include the creation of parks which are accessible and available to all, provide diverse and balanced programming, promote meaningful and inclusive community engagement, create adaptive and resilient landscapes, and promote connection with the neighborhood and the broader community. So with all that, I'm going to turn it over to Carol Cottrell and to take it from there.
So my name is Leah Broder, and I will be presenting along with Naomi Cottrell from Carly Cottrell. So today's agenda for the meeting, as you know, the site includes two different parks. We have the north site and the south. So we've divided the meeting into two portions. We'll start with the north site, discussing the community input that we heard and discussing what we heard as clear priorities for the community for the north, sharing design options for the north, and then we'll pause to have some feedback and listen to respond to any questions regarding designs for the north. We'll then move on to the south site. My colleague Naomi will present and we'll look at community input that we've received so far, talk about priorities, and then share design options for the south. After that, we'll pause and review any questions and feedback for the south site, and we can certainly circle back to the north for any conversation that comes up at that time.
For you who are joining us, this is a meeting about redesigning the public space parks, community parks that on Dudley Street. They're divided in two. I think it's called the Dudley Common Town. That's where I found one of the homeless encampments. They have only put up flyers only around that area, nothing around past that. And this is what you see is they purposely want to do whatever they want. They get limited
I'm sorry.
engagement.
So I'm sorry. Thank you. These comments are welcome during the period where we're having community discussion. You're welcome to stay, Mr. Nelson. But if we can please let the presenters share the presentation of the other folks that we've been speaking to this summer and what they said, so that we can be all on the same page about this project.
Well, that was my apologies. I didn't realize you guys were picking me up because I was commenting to someone else who's with me. Sorry about the interruption.
Okay. That's okay.
Okay.
So the project includes two sites. This is Dudley Town Common. The north site is located at the corner of Dudley Street and Hamden Street, and the southern site is at the corner of Blue Hill Avenue and Dudley Street. Those are the sites that we'll be talking about today. Our community engagement to this point has included two community events. Previous to today, we were on site at the farmers market, as Priyanka mentioned. There was canvassing and surveying in which we received 132 written responses. Of those responses, 78% were Roxbury residents and 24% from nearby communities. And we learned that the south site is used with more frequency. 59% of the respondents used the north site, while 87% used the south. So let's talk about the north site. As you see in this image, this is the site that wraps around a very steeply sloping intersection of Hamden and Dudley Street, and includes the beacon that you're seeing here, stairs, and programming inside the park, which we'll look at. In terms of the respondents to the surveys, what we heard is that people who do come to the park attend either daily or weekly, typically in the afternoon, and not surprisingly in our climate, primarily in the summer, but there's also use in spring and fall. In terms of why people do not visit, we heard that there was a lack of shade, there was a lack of seating, and it feels unsafe. We also asked people to prioritize things that they're interested in keeping. Benches, trees, and lawn were the top items on that list. And what people wanted more of was community art, tables and chairs, trees, and lighting. So in the designs that we will present moving forward, we are aiming to address all of these items of priorities in terms of keeping community art and augmenting the things that are working, amplifying shade, increasing lighting, and providing more places to sit. We'll be looking at 3 schemes, and what you're seeing here are plan drawings. It's a drawing convention that we use to organize the space of the plan. On the top left, we're showing the existing conditions, and I'll show that in greater detail in a future slide. And then we're looking at concepts 1, 2, and 3. And we will go through these sequentially, looking at them in these plan drawings, as well as in 3D models and some images that give a sense of the look and feel of the places we're imagining here. So let's move right into it. So just in order to help navigate the way these plans are drawn, we are representing the city sidewalk, as you see, and concrete paving with this color gray. I'm not seeing. There we go. So the color gray represents paving. The yellow symbols represent lighting. There are 2, so you also don't see my cursor, huh? Mm-hmm. Okay. So there are the 2 rectangular structures at the bottom of the plan with stripes represent canopies that are existing on the site. Behind that, there is fence. The reddish color represents brick paving, and on the bottom right, here we go. On the bottom right, you're seeing this monument, which is the beacon, the symbol that says Dudley Town Common. In the center is an out-of-use water feature. There's a globe public art feature at the back, and a really lovely mosaic on this seat wall. Unfortunately, the seat wall has failed over time. There's a stairway leading up to the park from Hamden Street. So this is one of the primary entrances. And then there's the stairs that we showed in the previous image leading up to the monument are in disrepair and impassable at the moment. And I just want to draw your attention to the fact that this existing park really takes a chunk of the park is given to streetscape. So the edge of the park really runs along the street sidewalk, and a large portion today is given over to this wide paved area and the bus stop. And that's one of the things that we're looking at changing in our schemes. So these are some of the features on the top left. Animal mosaics in front of the globe feature. On the top right, you're seeing those steps from the sloping street, Hamden Street. Bottom right represents that widened sidewalk with those canopy structures at the bus stop. And on the left, the community mosaic. In terms of the way we like to talk and think about the site, we tend to break a site down into zones that have distinct characteristics. In this case, we talked about the bus stop street zone, which is in pink. There is a park area that's grass and trees shown in green. And then the primary gathering today is kind of this central bluish color which is the out of function water feature in the center, and that mosaic seat wall that bounds a grass lawn. There's the steep slope, which is only passable on the concrete steps, and the monument, which is currently inaccessible. This is a 3D model of what the site looks like today with all those elements that I just described. These are the steps, the wall with fence that separates the street from the park, what we're calling the canopy, so this light blue feature, the brick paving. These colored pieces represent animal mosaics and the rounded seat wall. The trees that are shown on this plan are existing trees that we intend to keep. They're in good health. So we have 3 plans to look at, and I'll do my best to go through them relatively quickly to leave time to talk, but there's a lot to look at. So this first scheme is what we're calling targeted improvements. We're really trying to amplify what works about the existing park and rebuild the elements that are in disrepair and currently inaccessible. So that means repairing and improving paving and seat walls, salvaging and resetting the existing characteristic structures, such as the beacon at the corner with the Dudley Town Common sign and the figures silhouetted, the mosaic animal figures, the globe feature at the back of the park, and a newly built seat wall to reset that mosaic that wraps in the circle on the left. We would add, no, that's good. We would add the mosaic panels and backed seating on that seat wall. And we're also importantly adding a paved walkway so that that whole seat wall becomes accessible to people with disabilities. So when we look at the zoning of that site, you'll see that we've expanded the gathering area of the park and we have expanded the park. So we're reclaiming all of that property that's currently taken as an expanded sidewalk and bus stop. We're taking it back for the park. So in 3 dimensions, you can see that the park comes all the way to the street. We have more generous openings with 3 points of entry to looping paths at this upper park level. Using these new walkways, you could access the beacon, that structure with the Dudley Town Common sign and silhouetted figures. We're incorporating additional bench seating, and you're seeing the seat wall in the back, on the back left. Adding lots of new shade trees and additional new lighting. So just some images to represent that. This is the existing condition, the seat wall with mosaics. So the basic form and idea we quite like of the rounded seat wall around a panel of lawn under the shade of the existing trees. Unfortunately, the seat wall today is in poor disrepair. So we would rebuild this seat wall and make it accessible with the path. On the top right, you're seeing an image of a park that has a working water feature, central water feature, and seating with tables and chairs along the edges. So this is another idea we're interested in exploring. And an idea of the rebuilt seat wall in the image on the bottom right. The second option makes more change. And in this option, we're addressing what we heard in some of our responses in terms of why people don't use the north site, which was there's no reason to go. So we wanted to think about programmatic elements to incorporate that might encourage park use. So this option shows a dog park occupying a little more than 1/3 on the left side of the plan. It's about a 5,400 square foot area. That would be a pea stone dog park with a paved path going through it. On the right, there's a lawn panel with a looping path, and off of that path, some additional tables and chairs. for seating. The red squiggles represent those mosaics. We're keeping the stair to Hampden Street, keeping the beacon and making it accessible with this looping path. Oops. So diagrammatically, in terms of the zoning of the park, you see in this case the dog park zone on the left, the smaller gateway on the street, a larger park zone on the right, and then the slope that remains in all of the schemes because we need it in order to negotiate the grade change from the park level to Hampden. So modeling it in 3 dimensions, which makes it hopefully a little easier to visualize. One of the important things on this scheme is a row of street trees along the sidewalk. So we have 6 new trees along the sidewalk that would increase the shade to the sidewalk for people waiting for the bus, as well as increase the shade with more trees for this looping path that you see on the right. On the left side, the dog park entrance from Dudley Street and another paved loop within the dog park, in addition to a seat wall and seating at the back. On the left, an image of a dog park, just to get an understanding that it does require a fenced enclosure. We would use what is currently a Boston standard for dog parks, which is a rice stone or pea stone for the surfacing within the dog park, but of course in front and around it would be grass and trees. And on the right, game tables with the idea of incorporating that additional seating and game tables in the looping park that would be on the right side of the park. Our third option, which we call the loop, is quite simply that. This is the option that makes the most change in the park. So we would remove all of the existing paving on the upper level of the park. The only thing that would remain would be the stairs from Hampden Street. We would simplify and expand circulation to be this one large loop that encloses a large plain of grass with shade trees. On the upper left, you're seeing some small blue dots that represent mist poles, and we'll show an image of that so you get a sense of that, but it's a playful water feature that would be a nice place to cool down in the summer. On the bottom right, you're seeing the mosaic pieces that are there today that would be reset. And blue is our diagrammatic color to represent seating. So in this case, we have seat walls on both edges of the oval or loop. And those seat walls give an opportunity to remount the artful mosaic with the quotation about the Dudley community. There are historic panels today at the front of the site, and those would be reset on panels at the front in this scheme. In terms of zoning, there's a much larger and simplified gathering area at the center. Park and trees wrap the perimeter and the slope at the edge. So here you can see the seat walls that I mentioned, the central oval shape of lawn, and that connectivity and access that you get from all these expanded entry points from Dudley Street. In terms of what that might feel like on the ground, on the left, you're seeing a park. It's actually the park also pictured here on the right. So the park is a big looping path. On the ground, you see paving with pads for benches and seating that's pulled right off of the sidewalk, and then a bunch of shade trees both inside and outside the loop. In the center, you're seeing the mist poles that we discussed. So it's that playful water feature that's presented as blue dots on our plans. We would like to take the opportunity now to answer any questions, revisit any of the slides, and get your feedback on reactions to the 3 different schemes, things that you like, preferences, things that you don't like, and suggestions.
I'm gonna just ask folks to raise their hand, and I'll keep note and call on folks. Let's see. Well, I see right now. I see Carl. Is there anyone else who would like to get on the list to speak right now? You can speak up or raise your hand. Carl, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking the opportunity to involve us in this this Dudley Town Common. What I'm seeing so far really is an improvement of what we have there currently. I don't want to give my priority which one I like because I don't know if it's just they're all good, but I really love the loop one more so than the others because when you say a town common, I mean, I don't want to use Boston Common as an example because it's so big, but like, like we'll say Lexington Common or any place else that uses the term common, you think of a grassy area that has trees and benches, whereas this is like too much concrete, except the loop one makes more sense. It looks like to me like a common, like someplace you want to go as a respite in a busy city and enjoy the shade and the green and the water features are fabulous. We really need water in these areas because it's a heat zone in this particular, well, all of Roxbury is a heat zone, but this is an improvement over what's there and what we really need in the community. I just curious about one thing. Are you saying you're going to be taking away the canopies that are now on Dudley Street?
That's a great question. So in the 2 schemes, so in the scheme on the bottom left with the dog park, that is the only scheme that we are preserving the canopy. The other 2 schemes remove them.
Okay, the reason why I ask is because if you're waiting for a bus there, the canopies provide shelter from the elements, I believe, and in a bench too that you would like to sit down waiting for the bus or be covered in rain or what have you. So why can't the canopy stay on Dudley Street but still have the park?
So Carl, this is Naomi Cottrell, one of the
All right,
designers. The canopy right now is actually just slats,
that's
and
what. All right.
it's not actually a cover. It is um, more of a visual art piece.
Yeah.
So the benches actually also in the existing aren't underneath the canopy. I'm going to show you with pink. The benches are located in this zone here, and then these are where the existing uh, again, art piece that we're calling the canopy. So it doesn't serve right now as any kind of protection from the elements. It's a nice, it's a piece that draws you to the park, I think. And I think that really, if we hear from the public that it's worth reusing those because people are really attached to them, we can find places in these schemes to reuse them. But I just wanted to clarify that it's not a roof. There's no roof.
Yeah. Naomi, I guess I'm sorry. I didn't explain it correctly. I'm talking about, I said the existing canopies, and you're absolutely
Yeah.
right. They are just flats. I'm talking about having a canopy that would protect
Ah,
one,
great,
with benches that you're sitting there waiting for the bus or what have you,
great.
other than just those slotted ones, which I
Yeah.
don't know what they really do. So I'm sorry, I missed, you know, I meant
No,
to,
thank you for the clarification. That's great. We all need to, yeah.
that's what I meant. But if
Yeah.
you added, you know, some canopies and benches on Dudley Street where everybody, it seems like when I go by there, that's when I see people really using the park because they're kind of waiting for the bus and what have you. And, you know, most places have, you know, a sort of like a canopy if you're waiting for the buses and what have you. Makes more sense. The other question I have is the beacon that you call it. Are those going to be repainted in and what color? Because I look at that and I think, why industrial gray? I mean, everything is industrial gray. I mean, it's like, does that read common to you? Like a park space? It looks like to me like a factory. I don't know. You know what I mean? Industrial gray, warehouse.
Yeah. Yes, that's also a great comment. And in both of these schemes, our intention is to clean up and reuse those structures so they would be cleaned of rust and repainted, probably in bright colors, something that's going to really draw the eye and celebrate the piece. We know that they're very faded and rusted at this point, but we've heard a lot of people express attachment to those pieces. And I think it was you at our last Zoom meeting, we talked a lot about the value of having the piece at the corner in terms of it functioning as a kind of welcome to the neighborhood, both for pedestrians and vehicles. So we hope to improve upon what is there today with
Yes.
paint and renovation.
Yeah, no, I really looking at all of them, you probably don't want to hear it again, but like the loop to me really looks like what I think of as a common, as a park, as a respite that you would want to go and sit down and, you know, take a break and not have to, you don't want to say negative, but not have dogs running around and you kind of want to like concentrate or look at your computer and have to hear barking and what have you. You know what I'm saying? It's just that it would be a nice, even a meditation spot, you know, on such a busy roadway. That's a nice buffer.
Thank you. Thank you, Carl. We're going to give somebody else a moment to speak for a little
I
bit.
have,
Thank
yeah, I saw Clifton, and then Sean. Go ahead.
Hello, good evening, everybody. How you doing? Clifton Braithwaite, community leader, activist, statesman, and candidate running for Boston City Council at large, writing candidate. And like I mentioned when I saw the plans today, everyone, this is how I like to start. The past was the past. The colors were that time. We have a unique opportunity to build it the way that we want it for our community. So I like to say to everyone, let's be a little bit light because we're a part of the creation side of it. How I viewed everything when I looked at the plans, when they finish tweaking the plans with the suggestions that we bring in, and if they can achieve the different tweaks, then we're going to come down to be planning either A or B, dog park with it or not without a dog park. So let's expand our thinking. Let's be glad. I don't know how many people were here on the original time when they did start the park and how it all came about. I was younger, but I was around. And I think we have in closing, a better opportunity to bring in the different ideas that we have culturally, community-wise, and then work it out as a collective group to have what we need in both sides of the park, A and B. So I'll close right there. But I like what I'm seeing. I just want to make sure that we're able to scan the neighborhood and be able to get people involved either in person, online, but to give everyone a true opportunity. And there's a few people on this line right now that we all have different networks, community-wise, that we would like to achieve, like we did back in the days, a real community blessing and achievement to achieve the things that we need. I talked a lot about solar energy coming down there. If we're going to be a state-of-the-art city, and we're going to have green areas and stuff, we should be able to look at solar. So I already had my ideas. I want someone else to speak, but collectively, everyone, we have an opportunity truly in the beginning of these designs to help tweak and help them create and bring out what we want. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Sean Nelson.
Thank you, D7 candidate. So my input is I do like the loop concept number 3. My only issue is when you spoke that I live literally like maybe like 4 or 5 blocks down that street. And I honestly have not seen anybody canvassing and asking questions. Thank you for Clifton for reminding me in an email that you guys had this meeting, because the only way I knew about it was I was walking down. There's only signs over by the area, nowhere else in the neighborhood. And I walked up and down this city during this whole campaign thing. You guys only had signs taped in weird little spots. So I took a photo, and unfortunately I got scatterbrained, and I usually would go post it up. I would like to see you guys literally walking, not being in one spot and going into the neighborhoods, because this is one of the complaints that people have with the city. You guys do stuff, but yet the community in that area are not informed unless, you know, like you're well connected or you stumbled upon it. Because again, I don't remember seeing anybody asking me questions or walking around. And then when you guys put this in, people are going to get upset thinking about, oh, well, this is not really for us, it's for other people. Another thing is walking past in the last couple of days about that park is it is the safety, because I've walked past it. You see the winos, you see the homeless people there. And I believe the concept for the north side that is over by Hampton and Dudley Street, there's an encampment behind that globe sitting area. I've called the city about 3 times finding needles, people just hanging out there. It's completely trash. I mean, feces. Just the other day, I went to go inspect to see if the city came and cleaned up. There was a guy hiding behind one of the trees in the back. It was so creepy. People don't want to go there because one of my thing is after you do these concepts, how are you going to make it sure that it's safety? Because one of the things I want to put in there when it comes to these parks is having maybe some a little bit of lighting so people can go see. Because I'm not want to go into a park. Maybe I do want to enjoy the night air and not having some weirdo somewhere in the darkness coming up behind me or not feeling safe. Other than that, I would just say you have mailers, you have people's addresses. You know, if you're going to do community engagement, you need to expand and actually walk around, put up flyers, talk to people, and not just be concentrated in one area. Because again, as
Yeah,
someone who's not, and I'm not going to take up much time, but just expand it, because then people complain that we hear that we talk to people, but which people when we don't see you? And again, thank you, because the park does definitely need to be renovated.
Thank you for your comment, Sean. If you want to give me your email so I can have you on the email list going forward, so you can be up to date with any information regarding Dudley Town Common, please drop that in the chat. I'm the one that's responsible for the flyering, so I apologize if I did miss your neighborhood street. I've been out there talking to residents, passing out flyers to people, going up and down the businesses that are adjacent to Dudley Town Common, but I apologize if I did not get to knock on your door or your neighbors. So, but I'll make sure that you have any information going forward.
Hey, and I'll just like to chime in real quick. I'm gonna co-sign you, my brother. Whatever help you need for you to get the message out there, you know how we do, man. And I heard your voice. I can't see. I got bad eyes. So I'm glad you're a part of this team. You already know how to get in touch with me directly. I did put my number in the feed. Hit me up, man, and let's really canvas hard. I got you. I will co-sign you. I know you did the best you could with the resources, but we're going to team up with you and get it out there for everybody. I got you, fam.
Thank you, everyone. Sean, to address your comment on the lighting as well, that we will be expanding the lighting network into the park on both sites, just so you're also aware of that. Thank you.
I see Latoya and then Marcos. Latoya, you can go ahead.
Hi, I'm Latoya from DSNI on the board. I apologize if I didn't hear everything, but I'm on another meeting. But I just want to say I knocked on a good 40 or more doors. Normally I don't get to see like how this operation works when things are being put or changed in our community. But I can actually say I did play a part in knocking on doors and getting people's opinions and advice on what we should bring to this town common.
Thank you so much.
Marcos, go ahead.
Hey, folks. So first of all, thank you for sharing the plans to date. I, it's interesting. I definitely like the concept 3, the sort of big oval space with lots of green, lots of grass, and hopefully a lot more trees than what we see there. Particularly because we're losing grass at Clifford Park, and it's unfortunate given the fact that we are in a heat zone. I also want to say, I've lived in the neighborhood for 25 years, and I've waited for the bus there. And like I said, I coordinate the garden across the street. I've never felt the need or the interest in going into that space, because I've seen lots of things happening there, and I figured, there was nothing really there for me to enjoy. Yeah, we do have like a resident homeless person there. Just the other day, some people got off the bus, and as they were walking across into that park, they referenced that they had just bought $20 worth of something, and we're gonna be smoking it. Yeah, I think the fact that we're so close to mass and Cass is a real concern. At one point I was imagining this being a park that was actually gated like the Nonquit Green, and just create a bit more safety than it currently represents. In terms of the dog park, um, yeah, I think that's a great idea. I just feel like the chain link fence really takes away from, the what this could look like. I know that I'd rather have folks having their pets poop and pick up there as opposed to not picking it up on the streets. So I know there's a need for dog parks, but I mean, overall, yeah, I appreciate sort of the incorporating the comments. I ran into folks doing the survey, so I completed the survey, and then I've run into the flyers down Dudley, including one that was posted at our garden bulletin board. So it had the QR code, and hopefully more people will be able to also comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
So just a time check, it's 6:51. I know that we still have to do the presentation for the south side. Would anybody like to add anything before we move on? Not seeing anybody, so hand it over to Carlia.
Yeah, I'm gonna, this is Naomi. I'm gonna go through the south site, and hopefully, since we've all been oriented a little bit to the north, I'll probably go through these pretty quickly. I will say that from, again, the survey that was canvassed through the neighborhood, we heard very similar things about what the south site needs and really how it's functioning right now. So we did hear similar things that really people use this daily or weekly in the afternoon and in the summer. Similar reasons why folks don't visit because of lack of shade. Here, noise and traffic are a very consistent thing, and lack of seating. People really want to see to keep benches and trees and lawn. And what people want more of, again, is community art, tables and chairs, trees, and lighting. So really similar things to the north site. Go ahead. So again, we're going to show 3 different options, and this slide is just really showing up in the upper left is the existing condition. So just so that everybody orients themselves, what we're seeing on the existing is Dudley on the north side of the park and Blue Hill Ave on the south side, or the lower part of the page. And then we have the clock tower, which is sort of the sister of the beacon or the gateway that is on the north site. And we're going to go through these concepts, and similar to the last one, we're going to start kind of with a lighter touch, and then go to a second and then a third that continues to make larger renovations to the parcel. Go ahead. One of the things that struck us about the site is the number of elevation changes, little steps, stairs, ramps, other things, because you do have several different layers. It's very hard to be able to really take advantage of the whole site if you have any kind of mobility challenges, and then really that the paving even currently within the site in the flattest part in the middle of the plaza has a lot of elevation change and trippers. So we know that one of the keys to really making this site improved is to make sure that elevation changes are done appropriately or potentially taken out. The site and what we've seen used most is really the center plaza area, which has this combination of brick and concrete in this middle zone. We then also have a stage, which is a two-level stage, one that has the top one that has the same kind of a canopy, and then the lower, which is open. And then there's a buffered planted area toward the page right. You can go ahead and go forward. So just some of the existing conditions. We've heard a lot from the community, and we agree that there are a lot of pieces that are things that we should keep, especially the clock tower, and get that working, and certainly renovate it so it really can become a special beacon. There's also an interesting fence with music notes, and understanding that there was in the previous renovation, really a hope to bring arts and culture and music into this space with the stage. And then in the upper right, looking at that existing canopy piece, which is that uppermost layer. Go ahead. So right now, when we look at the character zones of the site, there are several different areas. And again, these are different areas because they have changes in elevation, steps up, steps down. And so the plaza part we see is being used very often. And some of these other spots a little harder to get to. So you'll see that in all of our in our proposals, really trying to test how much and how simple and how many character zones we really need in the site. Go ahead. So again, this is a model shot just to orient everybody with the gateway or the clock tower in the lower left-hand corner, and then up the back towards down Blue Hill towards the bike shop in the back. And you can see here all the different levels. You can also see we've rendered the music fence and the structures, but again, showing lots of levels here. There are 2 existing trees in the main part of the plaza, which we'll talk about more about trees here. And then there are other trees and buffer in the back of the site. Go ahead. So this is the first proposal that we wanted to show folks, which is really, again, a targeted improvements, which is not wiping the site clean, but it's really keeping as many elements as we think we can while still trying to simplify the park and improve accessibility. We are in this proposal removing the elevated section in and around the clock tower so that it becomes at the same level as the rest of the plaza. Another important thing that we think is important for the site is adding in more street trees. So we've added in along Dudley more trees into the line where there are the 2 currently, and then adding in a row of trees along Blue Hill Ave. In this proposal, we are adding in benches and tables into those zones underneath the trees so that they are comfortable places to sit. This proposal does leave the center open as it is now so that it still can have the same kind of programmatic functions, but really trying to have the edges provide some shade and even some filtering of noise and buffering of traffic. The other piece of this that we think is important is that we are keeping the 2-level stage with the canopy, but trying to simplify how you would get up and down. So while leaving some of the front elements of stairs and wall, we are actually adding in 2 ramps on either side to simplify and to make the whole site accessible. So those would be accessible ramps and paths leading up to the upper levels. You can go ahead. So you can see in this character zone, we've tried to make less ups and downs. So the plaza has been expanded while the stage and platform still remain as 2 upper levels. We have really tried to make the plaza a more continuous space with trees and open pavement. Go ahead. And again, here it is in 3 dimensions. You can see in all of our schemes, we're trying to think of ways, and we would love to hear feedback on how we might use the existing and reuse the existing fence that has the music notes on it as a way to frame and really highlight the stage in this option. And again, you can see here that we're adding in the 2 rows of trees on either side of the plaza area. Go ahead. So again, these are just some precedent images and inspiration images. In this scheme, we still have a wide open area that could be used for markets and other things. And then also just really trying to create a frame to that open plaza by having those rows of trees. Go ahead. So the second scheme goes a little bit further to renovate even more of the space. So in this option, we're really trying to almost cut the site in half. And what we're doing here is really that the front half or the half on the end is still functioning purely as a plaza, as a paved plaza, again with trees that line the streets. We've also still making this all at one level and keeping it open for functions. So that's not really that different from the other. But what we've done in the back is actually eliminate the second level of the stage. So now the stage is just one level. And what we've done is actually set it within a grassed area with additional trees so that it is actually feels more like a park rather than a plaza. So it's giving a little bit of both worlds. What we've done here in this option is just a single retaining wall. So really simplified all of the spaces. There's a set of stairs that leads up to this stage area. And again, simplifying this with then the accessible route runs through the back of the site, right off from the sidewalks, and you can get up into this upper area. You can go ahead. So again, this is a sort of a half plaza, half park option with bringing in a lot more green space into that upper portion. Go ahead. So again, here in 3 dimensions, here we've actually shown the fence here. We did hear some comments about that today at the farmers market. Just a thought about how this might be in a way to potentially separate plaza and park. I think we can go to the next. So this, okay, for some reason my annotations aren't clearing, but please ignore the Okay, thank you. So again, it's just some precedent images, thinking about this upper part of the site on the right with plantings and a center set of stairs to really give it a separation. And then again, on the left is kind of the feel of what that lower plaza would feel like, with the abilities to have say tables and other gathering areas underneath the trees that are on the sides of the streets. Go to the next. So this is the last of the 3 proposals for the south site, and we call this one a grove, and really thinking about and wanting to kind of push the envelope and hear from the neighbor as to how much tree would we actually like to see in this area. So where the last option that we looked at gave more grass area, in this one we're saying, could we or would we ever want to take and make the plaza all one level and really stretch it to its max? So in this scheme, we have taken away the upper elevated stage, and we have replaced it with a large flat area that would be coplanar to Blue Hill Ave or accessed with a ramp from Dudley. And then the rest of the park is a single level and has a lot of shade. The tent that we're showing tents. These are actually the size of the tents that typically set up for the farmers market. So we wanted to test those size, but we can imagine that this area here is a place where you could have some kind of a performance with then gathering and seating underneath the grove of trees. So you can go to the next. So again, this one pushes the plaza idea almost to the back and really makes this whole thing one big open plain. We can go to the next slide. In order to achieve that, we would actually have a ring of stairs that would ring the site in sort of 1/3 of the perimeter. But then the rest of this would be coplanar and would be easily accessed. And then once you get into the space, this whole space would be at a single level with no steps. So again, there is this open area where it would be very conducive to being able to have a performance. Also easy to load things in and out because there's no level changes, and very easy to get any kind of equipment into the space because it is all very flat. Okay, go ahead. And really, there are examples of this. In this one on the right is actually in Boston near the aquarium. On the left in another city. But the idea being that you really provide a ton of shade by having trees, but that the trees are spaced such that there is a lot of area to be able to gather underneath, whether it's benches or seat walls. And then providing also for the ability to be able to occupy and have things like tents and other things through the middle. Go ahead. So this is where we want to open up for you all to give us feedback. Again, we want to hear feedback on all 3 of these concepts. And I think we'll just leave it here and open up.
Thank you so much, Naomi. Yeah, please raise hands. I'm going to ask folks to keep it a little bit brief to give everybody enough time because we don't have too much longer until 7:30. I'm going to choose somebody who hasn't actually had a chance to share yet. Domingos, would you like to share? And then Carl.
Hey, hi guys. It's Domingos DeRosa, lifelong resident of Boston. I grew up actually in that actual space. We cleaned that area up back in the 90s to get what we have today. We were part of the design team as a community. We wanted a space where we can enhance our culture, art, music, food, and so forth. And we were never able to get the full support from the city to create a culture that this area would be used not only by the Cape Verdean community, but all the communities within that part of Boston. My thing that I had made suggestions just this afternoon goes back to safety because that's one of the biggest concerns in both spaces is the safety of the community and the activity that we witness daily within those two spaces. Adding emergency boxes that actually provide AEDs in case of an emergency, because we do have a big population of the unhoused and folks who are navigating substance use, tons of elders. Um, Out of the designs that you guys have presented, I was more in favor of the first design. And the reason why is because it goes back to what the space was intended for, was to bring the community out for different gatherings and have the community use the space to enhance the community. It's sad to say that that never came to light. I hope that we can add some of these events that are being added across the city, the mayor's coffee hour, music in the park, even with the movies in the park and so forth. So that first one, it gives us the ability, to add space on the side with trees for shade. It also gives us the opportunity to use that back space closer to the houses to put in artificial turf, because we've noticed that grass in that area is very difficult to grow. Even currently today, the little bit of space that is green isn't green. Folks are using it for different usage. Some people are using it to shoot up, so that becomes an issue with needles in the ground, gaps, and so forth. It gives us the ability to maintain it at a lower cost, because that park doesn't really get the love it should when it comes to maintenance. Is there any also show what
I'm
kind of
sorry, Domingos.
um,
You're getting cut off there.
sorry to
Try
get
again.
all over, but is there anything being put together on how this area would be used and what the city intends to bring there, so we can continue to add life to the space? We feel beyond excited about renovating and updating the area, but is there something that's going to be put on? DSNI isn't the whole community, and we don't want to have a CDC be the one controlling how we go about using this space. That's always been an issue for a lot of us residents who live in the area. So that's just my 2 minutes of spiel. But I'm happy to continue to work on this with you guys and bring in more community residents, because as you can see, there's 17 people on this call. I'm not trying to say the outreach wasn't done effectively, but sometimes folks just folks just do not have the interest, because when we do come to the table and we do bring up concerns, a lot of those things are dismissed. So folks are just disengaged, and I'm hoping that we can help engage some more community for the next meeting, so we can actually have more than a handful of suggestions. So I thank you guys and appreciate your effort on this project.
Thank you so much. Yes, definitely we'll maybe do a survey or something after this as well, to get more to the community. I think creating community groups, if there's community groups available or that you know of, I'd love to get in contact with others as well to see how they would like to use the space. And it's a great idea to talk to our events coordinators here at the Parks Department and see how we can also, from Parks side, help activate that space. So thank you for that idea.
I see Carl and then Sean. Again, please, keep it brief if you can.
Hi, Naomi, may I speak with you, please? Because you were the presenter and you did a wonderful job presenting and you had a lot of stuff to cover. So may I ask you your opinion on something, please?
Go for it.
Okay, Naomi, you can correct me. Did they not just take all the different levels away from Copley Plaza, and because they said it wasn't working, so now it's just one level? And didn't they do the same at City Hall? It's sort of, they took the different levels away and made it just one level?
I think that the Copley actually had very little level change. They had a lot of spaces that were broken up. But I didn't work on that project, so I can't say 100%. And then City Hall Plaza, they have done some work to level some things out, but there's still a dramatic amount of grade change across there. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So the reason I asked, because I was following the plans on both of them, and they said that the levels were not working because they felt it was separation, whereas the one level kind of brought people, together. And for bicycle riding or the kids with the skateboards and stuff, like, it was just more convenient, or not a hazard. Put it that way, not a hazard.
Right.
So that was one of the things that I wanted to bring out, that maybe we don't need the different levels here, and look at that as an example. The other thing is that concept number 1 is great because of the trees, and we have to keep in mind, when I live 2 streets away, when I pass this daily, and when I'm on Blue Hill Avenue and I'm stopped almost near the beacon, at the light there, it's a clear shot right across the common there, right to Magazine Street. And then to the right, you see nothing but a vacant lot. And we have to realize that at some point, that vacant lot is not going to be there all the time, and it's going to be a high rise. So trees with height is going to be very important, because looking across, I it's very arid, and no demarcation from the sidewalk on Blue Hill Avenue right to the plaza. It's all like nothing but a stretch of concrete. So I like concept number 1, that you've added trees. I also like that there's a buffer. It looks like, you can correct me, is that like a planting area underneath the trees that would separate the sidewalk from the plaza, so you wouldn't have this big stretch of concrete?
Yeah, if we were to do a planting in a row like this, we most likely would have it be something that is a material called FlexiPave, which is a new tree pit, but it's still, you can walk on it without compacting the soil. So it would have a visual difference between the sidewalk and the inside of the park.
Yeah, because you need something there to show, hey, you know what? You're off the sidewalk. You're actually into a park now. I mean, as I said, and also to cut that view, which is not a pretty view when you're sitting there looking down across, Blue Hill, Dudley, down to Magazine, and it's arid, it's hot, it's dry there. I didn't hear you mention a water feature in all of these plans.
Yeah, we haven't thought of a water feature here, as much as the other, but I think we could take it into consideration if that's something folks are interested in.
In concept
Yeah.
number,
We do have water. Sorry.
Oh,
Okay, I don't mind.
I think you can talk now, Leah.
Water fountain and a water bottle filler is
Right.
incorporated into each of these designs. It's not a water emitter or a mist emitter, but there is thought of providing a place to drink.
so just a place to drink, not something that you would visually see water pulsating like at the other one, whereas it would feel more like a common or a park, that where as I said, walk a couple of streets away from this, and when I go to the farmers market and stuff, I know you need to have the plaza to set up the tents for the market and what have you, but if I get off the bus and I've got bundles, it doesn't feel like a place that I want to sit and take a rest, because it's too open, it's too hot. There's no water going. There's nothing that blocks out the noise of, big busy intersection. If you had water going in a fountain, you'd hear the splashing. I mean, you'd have some green space with trees, which would make you want to, even if I wanted to leave my house and go down there and walk and sit there for a while, I would welcome it. But right now, it's too out there. It's too dense. It's too hot. add some waters, add some buffer between the sidewalk and the plaza, and more trees. Definitely more trees.
Carl,
That's
thank you. I'm gonna ask other folks that are just waiting to speak. Thank you. Sean and then Denai.
Yeah, I like concept one because it kind of keeps it what the original look is. Will you guys have the clocks working again? Could be nice to walk by and can be able to look up like an old style of like back in the day. Oh, nice hand clock moving. And I agree, a little bit more trees. Guess it's a hot spot when we had that little heat wave. You just it's beaming down. Like I like concept too, how the trees are on to the side, but maybe one big tree that can kind of like canvas the entire way so people can get away from the sun. And my question is, with the trees you guys are gonna be planting and plant, will it be something that's gonna be low maintenance? Because I have a parking lot in my house, but when it gets to winter time, they all die and wither basically, and this kind of looks grimy in a way. So are you guys putting in like plants that will be that can survive the winter and have very low maintenance? Because I know the city is kind of bad at doing the planting and the landscaping. And I definitely agree. Like, obviously, you said you're gonna have like water fountains there.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to the details of exactly what plant species would be in there. I think we have to still do some homework on what could actually survive in this environment. So that's things we're still working on. But thank you for that comment.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Denai.
Hello. So thank you for this presentation. I don't live in the area, so I will not comment on the designs. I collaborate with DSNI in a project called Common Senses. So I would like to leave here some information both for the design team and also for community members, as we also went through like a process with the community in order to create a network of environmental sensors. So basically community members suggested to place heat and noise sensors in both Dudley Commons and also an air quality sensor in the southern part in order for them to be able to use the data and see like improvements in the space, especially they were mentioning that's like really hot in the area. There is a lot of elderly in the farmers market that they would need like better conditions. So I can give you here the website where you can access the data. And in case this is something that is useful for your design and your process. And also I see like familiar names and faces in this call, like community members have participated in the process of Common Senses, but also people who haven't. So also whoever is here, you can always access the data and see how the design actually improves the space. There is also an article that that was published in the Convergence some weeks ago from a member of our team of Common Senses that shows that actually the southern part of Dudley Commons was 9 Fahrenheit hotter than a block away, that there are some trees. So this might be something that would be useful for your designs. And of course, we are here if you want to collaborate further, like hear the stories that we heard from the meetings or be part of it somehow. Because we are also looking on how to respond to these community stories that they ask for very specific places to be improved in the neighborhood. So thank you for doing the job to redesign this one, and we are here for more. I can leave here the information.
Thank you so much. Abigail Menendez had reached out to me earlier today, so we're going to coordinate with her as well on as we go through this and the group as we go through this design. And it's great that you already have a study started on the existing conditions, so we're halfway there, and we'll see where this goes. Thank you so much.
Sounds great. Thank you. Yes, Abby works with the city. I work with Boston Area Research Initiative, and then we have Renee from DSNI also in our team, so we are all here to speak with you.
If she can connect us then as well, or if you pop your email into the chat, I can capture it. Thank you.
Clifton Brathwaite.
Hey, thank you once again, gang. And I just want to say the same thing basically again. The design team, excellent work. Everyone else, we got to get more people in the community activated, but we have a chance to bring in different ideas. Just meeting them today, we went over some design areas about water on the other side of the park. So I know it's hard. A lot of us have lost faith in government, right? But let's forget all those things. This is an opportune time because there's a lot of people on this call that were there in the beginning when we first got the park put together. So we're in an opportune position to really rally the community and and work with the designers, and they will tweak it with the desires that we see to beautify our community through arts and culture and all those things that it was intended in the beginning. Let's throw out the old, let's work on the new. And for some reason, I truly believe with the people that are on this call, we can magnify it and really have community engagement. I don't think anyone, like Domingo said earlier, we're not blaming anyone getting out there. It's just the distrust that people don't believe their voices are being heard. And I don't feel that in this situation. There's a few people on the line that I know exactly that are on your team. And I know they're wholesome people of our community. And just meeting the people that I met today, I feel your love to beautify the city with your skills. So I think it's really about getting more of the community involved. And it's nothing that anyone here hasn't done. We just got to figure a way to use this spot to be a beacon to Boston, because we did it at Malcolm X Park with the design. A lot more designs are going to come later at Franklin Park, but I seen it work firsthand when the engineers and the designers are all a part of the conversation with the community. And I think we can do this here again. It's a smaller area, so we're going to compact new style with old style and really dive deep into being the beacon that place was designed for back in the days when we didn't have a voice. We did it then, we can do it now with beautiful upgrades. And I just wanted to close there with that. Whatever it takes, whatever y'all need from me, forget my political aspirations. That has nothing to do with the work that I do, period, 7 days a week, around the clock. Like, I'm out in the community right now. It has nothing to do with campaigning. I'm going to feed some people and bring them bags of food. So this is what I do. And I love to be a part of this project because I was there when I was younger on the designs there. So thank you. Humbly respect everybody on this call. Let's make it happen. And let's do what we do best, which is beautify our beautiful city of Boston. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Marcos?
Yes, very quickly. I really like the concept number 3, partly because again, we just need so many more trees in the neighborhood, particularly at that intersection, which is crazy given some of the lights, traffic signal stuff. Noise pollution is big at that space. And yes, when you're waiting for the 45 at that corner, the sun is just beaming on you, so you kind of have to hide behind the shadow of the clock tower, wherever that is. However, with more trees, one of the things that I feel is important is to make sure that they, are at a height where the space can still be defensible, right? So that we don't create sort of nooks and crannies where other things could happen. But yeah, I like the idea of having, a space where you can really walk through trees. I think we need to see more of them. And I believe that I saw some markings on Magazine Street. I think we're going to have some trees planted there. I think the city's doing those narrower tree pits. So right by St. Patrick's. So that's a plus down Magazine. Thank you. That's all I had to say. Oh, one other thing. I mean, I think that the challenge about the programming is that we need folks to take the lead on that. We need folks that are willing to steward and champion programs that they offer, perhaps indoors, to do them outdoors. Every Sunday when I'm at the garden, it's either, well, we gather for the annual tree lighting. And that probably gets the biggest crowd. And then the farmers market is another sort of regular program that brings people together. And then other than that, there's like congregations of 5 or 6 that preach to 1 or 2 people that are there at the park for other reasons. But it's pretty lonely in terms of programming. That's a challenge, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that the renovation hopefully can kickstart some of that. I really appreciate folks sharing about that. One question I had was just in noticing some of the designs, the mature trees that are quite large that are at the site are not part of design concept 2 or 3. And yeah, I was just curious about that with the flexi pave, if there's an option to keep the large trees kind of on the, what's that, on the eastern side, on the Dudley Street side, as you renovate the park.
Yeah, I think that we definitely even today and the other times we've been out to the site have seen the real value of that existing shade. One of those trees, the tree actually that's the closest to the back, this one that I'm just circling, seems like it's in fine condition. This one is starting to really show some decline. I won't say that it's dying, but it's declining. And there's some of this any work that we do at the root, the roots of the trees within that critical root zone would be things that we would do best current practices to make sure that those can survive. And certainly you can use the flexi pave instead of right now, those trees actually have metal tree grates around it, which have buckled up over time actually because the trees have gotten so big that they've buckled up. And actually this tree here has the metal actually growing into it because it should have been cut back and removed at a certain point. So that's part of the reason why we use flexi pave now, is because as a tree grows, it actually breaks up little tiny bits of it over time naturally, that it starts to remove and not collar it and become kind of squished. So there's really a question in my mind about the viability of that tree. I know that this one it looks fine, but we'll also be getting an arborist and city arborist to come and take a look before any of these are finalized, so that we can really get a health assessment on those. But certainly we know the value of that existing because it's dense and it's tall and certainly a value that if we can keep them, we would like to.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead, Marcos.
Yeah,
It's
so
7:31, but
I heard earlier, the idea of selecting trees that would be able to survive in that kind of a sort of environment. And yeah, I've heard that before because I'm planting some stuff over where I work. And so, you know, I know that when they were redoing Mother's Rest Park, I had sort of asked if they would consider to have like a cistern to capture water because we were getting a water feature. And I think that's really important, one, because water is a real sort of precious resource. And also because that could be used to water trees and whatever else is there, right? I mean, I think that having a fountain or I don't know what, again, how much water is wasted, but I'm sure that there's a good amount that is. Thank you.
The flexi pave is also really good because it's porous. The way I like to describe it is if you've ever eaten a Rice Krispie treat and if you were to dump water, it would just go right through it. And that's actually the way in which the flexi pave is. It's like the Rice Krispies are like the stones that are in the flexi pave and the glue is the marshmallow. And so it sticks it together, but there's lots of openings and holes in it. So I mean, one of the ways in which to get water to it is to grade the site such that these flexi pave zones receive water that runs off from the center of the plaza. And those are the kind of techniques that as we have a plan that really reflects the aspirations of the community, that we start to look at those technical things, and certainly trying to direct water towards these flexi pave areas that are trenches for trees is something that we would do.
Can I jump in real quick? A thought just came through my mind, if you don't mind.
Sure.
What I was thinking, when's your next plant meeting after some of the designs that you heard from us tweak it in the designs? Can we do it real big before we lose the weather? Like a cookout, really explaining it, why we need the community input involved in it. I'll do all the cooking. That ain't a problem. Right? Like, can we really make this what it was back in those days a big thing again? Is there any money in the budget to, you know, to achieve getting families there? We post the whole area, let them know, and then we dive in where you have a pick left, 1, 2, or 3, and then we have a community vote. Do they like it? And we take it from there. Because how I always say, to lead the horse to water, you better have the water. So, and turn it the other way. Let's have the different designs done within a reasonable time before we lose this great weather, if possible. I know on the design part, it sounds a lot easier than for what you have to do, but is there a way we can close out before we lose this weather and really engage the community? I think before October, end of September, something that we can really talk to the community when we have some weather and have a rain day delay, delay if and weather doesn't proceed, that it's already on the flyer, that the people will know if we don't do this date, we're doing the next date. I think that'll be a way to achieve everybody coming.
So just as a quick plug, I'm gonna add the sign-in sheet at the bottom just to stay in touch for updates about this project and with the DSNI Sustainable Development Committee, which is going to be involved in all the discussions about the project moving forward. But so yeah, please put your information in there. I know people have put their emails in the chat, so I have those. Thank you. But yeah, please sign in. And then Priyanka, do you want to speak to any of that?
Yeah, so we hadn't
as we
planned
close?
another community engagement specifically to review the concepts again. From this, we were going to go into one final schematic design for each of the sites. I think what we'll do is roll out a survey after this is done for people to comment on, and that'll be available virtually, and I can coordinate again with DSNI to they did an amazing job canvassing with the site analysis survey as well. I think that's the direction that we're going in right now. But again, if anything changes on that, we can, we'll definitely inform the community. But at this point, this is our conversation about the 3 different concepts for each site, and then the next community meeting will be in September. September 25th, I think, is that next meeting with the final schematic design. We'll roll out a survey in the middle to capture any other voices that we may have missed today from both of the events.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
It is 7:36, so I want to respect folks' time. But I do see 2 other hands.
I'll just put my question in the chat.
Yeah, that would be great. And then Carl, I'm gonna ask if this is regarding the designs. Priyanka, maybe it would be okay if we can stay on to discuss any questions, but regarding like updates about future meetings, yeah, please just leave your information. As Priyanka said, there'll be more meetings coming up. So thank you, everybody. I think we'll close the meeting, and then if folks want to stay on for a couple minutes, would that be okay, Priyanka?
Yeah.
Thank you,
yes.
everybody. Thank you for
everybody.
coming. Appreciate the comments today and at the farmers market as well.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for your participation.
Thank you for having us.
I just had a quick question. I tried to go into the documents. It says message denied or something.
Oh, okay.
Access denied.
All right. let me see if I can fix that real quickly.
Hello?
Sorry about that. It should work now.
Hi, just a quick
Thank
question.
you.
Will you be
And my brother told me he didn't leave.
Hi, just a quick question. Are they going to incorporate, like they have in other parks, like a dog waste bag area that you can, if you're walking your dog, you can pick up the dog crap that's, you know, and you have a barrel nearby to throw it in?
Good question.
Great question.
Well, because I live near Gertrude Howes Park, and a lot of people walk the dogs there, and it's one is provided there, and it's used, you know, very frequently, and it's a great, you know, because sometimes people are unprepared; they don't bring their disposable bags with them, and so there is a post down there that have, I think there's two that have disposable bags available for people to pick up the dog waste. And that would be a great concept to add to these two parks also.
Thank you, Carl.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and that should probably be standard in all Boston parks, to be honest, but that's an aspiration.
Lewis, are you asking the design team to hop off so the community can talk, or what are you asking folks to do?
So the meeting was supposed to end at 7:30, so
Right.
I'm gonna go ahead and end the meeting now. I just wanted
Okay.
anybody that wanted to ask a question the opportunity to ask. So I'm gonna close the meeting for everybody. And yeah, thank you so much for joining, everyone. And
Thank you, everyone.
Good night, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a blessed night, everybody.
Good
Can't wait
night.
to hear from
Thank
you
you.
soon. Good night.